Hello friends, my name is Alexander Kuyava. I am a media artist, producer of creative content and retired VJ. And this is my new training video, a new video course on how to create with the help of artificial intelligence, neuron networks, beautiful motion backgrounds, which you can use in your work, both for clubs, discos, and, for example, for creating content for artists. You can sell these motion backgrounds on your own websites, just like we do on the Lime Art Group website. Or, for example, on other stocks, such as Shutterstock, Adobe Stock, Pond 5 or Envato. We are talking about such simple but beautiful motion backgrounds, which we use for video projection shows in the interior. Due to the fact that we have such a video texture, such a pattern, we can increase it and cover the entire interior. Or as an option, as you can see, you can create your own still and sell it as a separate graphic, photo, picture and so on. Here you can see VJ Loops Pack Volume 98, collection of visual patterns that we made last year. And, for example, another one that I did last year, using the methods of artificial intelligence, creating such different elements of religious character, then compiling them into such beautiful video patterns. I don't know what we will get at the end of this course, I don't know what the final product will be, but I realize that the result will be about the same. You can create content with different symbols. For example, let's try to create a small video art pack for Halloween. We use the Halloween theme, for example, different skulls and so on. We will animate them in different styles with different stylization. And then we will make such patterns. As you can see, we sell this product on our website. You can do the same, but again, sell, for example, on stock sites such as Shutterstock and so on. This has already been said. I'll go to Resolum and show you how this video file looks in its animation. As you can see, if we stop the animation. If we stop, what we did here. With the help of artificial intelligence, for example, Stable Diffusion Automatic 1111 or other third-party web services like Dreamlabs, for example, we generated 30 frames of different Egyptian crosses, I think it's called ink, in different stylizations. All of them are made in the style of gold. And then when we have 30 keyframes, we make one animation of such a file through the program, for example, After Effects, or we have a program called Flow Frames, I think it's called. You can also do frame interpolation through morphing. Here we have David's star, which is animated in this style. There are other elements and so on. We can make composing in these patterns. These patterns are interesting because when you apply the effect of video wall in Resolum, you can use these video files, footages, motion backgrounds for almost any resolution you have. For example, if you have an environment in a club where there are 3 walls, left, right and background view from the front, then you can, for example, set such a view shape to make a panorama as if it were 3 full HD screens, that is, 3 times full HD, this is, in my opinion, 5760 by 1080 resolution. That is, if you cut it in half like this, you would get such a panoramic ultra-large resolution that you can use for the interior. As you can see, here you can scale such files very well, because the quality is not lost, although we can even use further in the future tools, such as Topaz, make upscale and we have that video footage that is full HD quality, we can transform it into Ultra HD, 4K, 8K, and so on. It doesn't matter now. But we can do the same in Stable Diffusion. Use different upscales and increase the quality of our images. Let me show you other files from the Cyberpunk collection. As you can see, there are different elements here. Depending on your tasks, you can create patterns, video textures, motion background, which you can use further in your projects. For example, here we have an option from the finance theme. Here is the euro, dollar and Chinese yen, that is, the symbol. And this way you can, knowing what you need, for example, I don't know if you are studying astrology, you need to animate, in this way, signs for astrology, all zodiacs, all 12 symbols. You find such pictures on the internet, make different stylizations with the help of Stable Diffusion or other AI applications, and then continue to animate them. Here we have butterflies. As you understand, if you animate at different speeds, it can be used as a video decoration, for example, for concerts. And as a video wallpaper that lives in the interior of the video projection. For example, if you are doing some kind of immersive show. Immersive video projections. And also if we stop, we can take the style and sell it as a separate picture. Here we have, for example, such cyberpunk feminist symbols, as you can see, and so on. I also want to say that you can make any such symbols, in principle, abstractions. For example, it does not necessarily have to be something. It can be just some ordinary figure, like a diamond, a square, an arrow, and so on. From it you can already build certain patterns and create, for example, such abstractions, which can also be used in the interior of your shows or, for example, in other projects. Well, here, in principle, the methods and areas of application. In fact, they are very large. It all depends on your imagination and your work specifics. As you can see, there are slowly animated rhombuses, which can be either the main elements in a video projection show or on a YouTube channel, or as additional elements. You can use each of these elements as it is, or build additional animations. Next, as with any motion background, you can create different mixes with more interesting content. If you work in 3D programs, you can also mix it and create variations of additional products. In the same way, for example, here we choose, as you can see, two different ones in the sense of footage and make such an animation. For example, I make a loom OK keying on the key in black. We have a bunch of files that we can use in different ways, and we also have motion backgrounds that are made of these single elements. As for the symbolic content, when the war in Ukraine began, we created a pack of animations of Ukrainian national emblems in different variations. The program is that all the income from these photos, from this collection, we send to Ukraine only for humanitarian aid. That is, not for sponsoring weapons or anything like that, but for humanitarian aid to those people who suffered from the war. As you can see, there are a lot of variations and you can mix them. You can make additional animation, but this effect can be done in Resolum. What I wanted to say, because we have a joint. We can scale these patterns as much as we want and cover any resolution that we have due to the fact that these motion backgrounds will be without a joint. We can cover any environment, any room, any club, and so on. Without loss of quality, which is the most important thing. Okay, let's move on to the next video and then I'll tell you about what are the tools and how to use it. But before that, just a few more words about the possible integration of your products. When you learn to do all this, we invite you to ourselves on different sources that we have. You can, for example, if you create a lot of national content or on a religious theme, where there will be crosses, signs of different cultures, and so on, where there will be a separate product, collection. We invite you to the site. We have a project called National Elements. We invite different stalkers here who are engaged in national and cultural content. As you know, each country has its own cultural differences and its own cultural specifics. For example, if you take Ukraine, there are national patterns, embroideries, carpets and so on. All images on money can also be considered as national differences. We invite people who shoot, create or generate such content to sell on our stocks. There is no such project anywhere in the world. You can find similar content on Shutterstock, but there is no such content anywhere. Therefore, if you have a good quality product, we invite you to us and we will be able to sell your content and you will be able to make good money on it. We can also sell your content here under certain conditions. We also have a website called VJ Loops Farm, where we also sell content like single clips. On different themes, as you can see, if for example on Lime or Druid we sell packs and collections, here we sell as single clips and invite you here to work, because the demand for this kind of content in general in the world is still a lot, especially for national content. As I said, there is not yet, except for ours, not a single stock in the world that could close all requests of clients that exist today in the world. So, let's move on to work with Stable Diffusion, as well as Dream Studio. I will show you how to further create such elements. In the next video, we will work more with Photoshop and move on to AI tools. See you soon.